Well, I watched some more things and decided I'm going to rank them again. I'm about to play the video of how this works. If you already know, you can skip to the timestamp on the screen right now. If you don't know, then enjoy the clip. So, how will this work? Well, it's actually really simple, to be honest. We have 3 different categories: the vibe check, story check, and Breezem extra points. For the vibe check, did I have a good time watching this movie or show? Or did I want to pull my hair out? Story check, self-explanatory. Did the movie or show have a good storyline? Breezem extra points, because I feel like it. Also, so I can actually balance out the rankings, so deal with it. So, those are the categories, and I will be ranking each of them out of 10. 1 being the worst, 5 being mid as fuck, and 10 being an absolute masterpiece. So yeah, let's get back into it. Alright, before we get into the actual ranking, this is an opinion from someone who isn't a critic, so if you get offended, well, tough shit really. Oh, and this is your spoiler warning. So I'm about to list the movies and shows, so then you'll be allowed to skip any shows or movies from the timestamps in the description if you want to avoid spoilers for that show or movie. Alright, that's it. You had your chance. Let's go. The Day of the Jackal, Dune Part 2, If, aka Imaginary Friends, Gangs of London, The Intern, Moana 2, 102 Dalmatians, Out of My Mind, Red One, and last but not least, Carry On. A little honourable mention, I rewatched Daredevil again because Born Again is coming out in March, and just great, 10 out of 10 show. But it won't be in this ranking because I've already seen it, and rewatching it, I'll just be very biased. Alright, The Red One. For some reason, the CGI in this movie just felt so clumsy and just out of place. Not entirely sure how to describe it, but the fight scenes especially just weren't for me. Just felt odd. The vibe check, 6 out of 10. Basically, Captain America and The Rock team up to save Santa Claus, aka Omni-Man, aka J. Jonah Jameson, aka Kai from Kung Fu Panda 3. Alright, time to stop yapping. But, with that said, I quite enjoyed this movie. It is a very turn your brain off kind of movie. So a bit like Fast and Furious or the fucking Riddick, if you know what that is. The story check, 2 out of 10. Any chance we can skip the story part? The less said about it, the better, to be honest. Honestly, for me, this was such a mess of a movie. I really expected much, much more from this. Shame on you, Black Adam. You were meant to have every ability under the sun. And clearly, being in a good Christmas movie is definitely not one of those powers. Breezem, extra points for no reason. 4 out of 10. It wasn't the worst movie I have seen, but I cannot give it more points when 20% of the budget went to Dwayne. I can't really act the best, but I cost a shit ton of money Johnson. Allegedly, hypothetically, and it's just a theory. So now you can't sue me. Ha! Also, bro fully plays one character in every single bloody movie, and that's just as The Rock. So, this brings the total to 12 out of 30. Yeah, piss poor from this bloody movie. But this is what happens when you release a mess of a movie. Carry On. Well, on paper, this movie should be really good. It has a very, very stacked cast. You've got the guy from Kingsman, Jason Bateman, Julian, the guy from The Penguin, the doctor guy, I don't know what his name was. And last but not least, we have fucking Hank from the best TV show, which is family friendly as we all know it, Breaking Good. The vibe check, 8 out of 10. I'm just as surprised as you are. A very high score for what seems like another Netflix slop movie. The story check, 3 out of 10. Once again, second movie in a row, where the enjoyability factor is high, but the story factor is absolutely abysmal. Let me show you a little tic-tac that explains everything.
Ethan, today is a day you're going to remember.
Huh? Who's this?
One bag for one life. You're going to help me commit a crime.
Bro, this best not be Eddie trying to prank me, you know.
You're going to let a bag clear the machine that has a shit ton of weapons in it.
What? You want me to let a bag full of weapons onto the plane? Are you dumb?
You understand it's my job to not let this happen, right?
Who are you talking to?
So yeah, that's all that needs to be said. Let's move on. Breezem, extra points for no reason. 5 out of 10. Jason Bateman, Bateman Jason, and well, Jasmine Baton. That brings the total to 16 out of 30. This means it's just 1 point above 15, which is mid, so I would say this is pretty mid. If imaginary friends, this is the Grimace movie, because you cannot tell me that this fucking thing isn't Grimace, who is also played by Steve Carell. You know, he's from that like little show, it was called like The Office or something. Well, I personally know him from a movie called The Sleepover. The vibe check, 6 out of 10. I mostly enjoyed the movie, but throughout the entire movie I was kind of in disbelief that Steve Carell is actually playing Blue, aka Grimace, but I didn't mind it. Well, mostly because how sexy Ryan Reynolds is, but that is kind of not the point. The story check, 4 out of 10. So far, the story check has been atrocious with the movies I've just rated, but I do promise it will get better soon. Don't worry. But now that that's out the way, I did disagree with quite a lot of the things that the movie did in terms of the storyline. You know, it's unfortunate really. Sorry, Mr. Reynolds. Forgive me. Breezem, extra points for no reason. 4 out of 10. Why 4 points? Well, let me just give you a list. Number 1, Ryan Reynolds. Number 2, Steve Carell. Number 3, John Krasinski. And number 4, fucking Grimace. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, but that brings the points total to 14 out of 30. So that means just under mid, so probably wouldn't watch this one. I'm sorry to all my Grimace fans. Dune Part 2. Finally. A movie that you all have seen, or at least heard of it. Surely you've heard of Dune, right? The almighty Dave Bautista movie, where he is trying to win the WWE SmackDown Raw 2024 World Title Cruiser Heavy and Middleweight Championship belt. The vibe check, 6 out of 10. Alright, I might as well just get this over and done with. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. Now, with that said, don't murder me, please. But that's probably because I don't seem to like slower kind of movies. But with that said, the cinematic experience made it up for me tremendously. Just wow. Also, Timothy rides a worm in Worms 3. And yep, that did actually happen. So you gotta kind of take my word for it. The story check, 8 out of 10. But with my hate put to one side, I can't say anything but whoever wrote this is an absolute bloody genius. And they probably have a very big brain, unlike me. But jokes aside, the story was absolutely amazing. So it is definitely worth a watch if you are into your movies with a great storyline and great, and I mean great, cinematography. Extra points for no reason. 7 out of 10. The reason why I'm giving these points is because the Fremen is a sussy barker and a very sus imposter who says Among Us during the movie. P.S. See the evidence provided, said by yours truly, Stilgar. So this sussy barker brings the total to 21 out of 30. And if it sounds like I'm reading off a script, well I'm not, I just think I'm cool. Well I'm not. So this is a should watch kind of movie, since 20 out of 30 is pretty good. That's only if you've seen the first one, because if you watch the second one without watching the first one, then what the fuck are you doing? You little Fremen. Moana 2. So what can I say except you're welcome? I was held hostage by my girlfriend and dragged into the cinema, so that's why I've watched this movie. Alright, P.S. That was a joke, in case anyone is stupid enough to think any of this is serious and not a joke. The vibe check, 7 out of 10. This is probably one of the biggest surprises on this list. I am shocked at how much I actually enjoyed it, considering I was held at gunpoint throughout the movie. Like, I even kind of liked the songs. Oh, and The Rock played as The Rock, but that was kind of expected. The story check, 6 out of 10. I can't sit here and say, oh, the story was the best, but it doesn't mean that the movie was bad. Like, for me, it just made sense, and it had a perfect ending, in my opinion. But obviously, if they make a third one, they will completely ruin the whole point of this ending. Extra points for no reason. I now pronounce you 7 and 10. You may kiss the points. That brings the total to 20 out of 30. So yeah, I would say probably give it a go. And don't write it off, because I know you probably already did. So just give it a go, mate. Out of my mind. This is a theme you may see, where I watch a movie that my girlfriend asks if I can watch with her. So PS, every episode there might be a odd one out. But being serious with this one, this is a very insightful movie to watch. The vibe check, 5 out of 10. And not because I hate disabled people, but because the whole movie I just felt bad for the girl, that she has to deal with this every single day, and all the twats as well. I say shove them all in the gulag and let them game end each other. The story check, 7 out of 10. I don't really know how to rate the story when it is based on a real life situation / real story. Not sure if that makes sense, but that's why I don't really have a lot to say. But I think it does a good job of showing how the girl goes through her disability on a daily basis. Extra points for no reason, 6 out of 10. It is important to know that this is a real person, and it is a great way to spread awareness. But with all that said, the points total is 18 out of 30. So probably go give it a watch and be aware. Yes, I know that's not a word, but just leave me alone. The Intern. So this is a victim of TikTok. I kept seeing clips of this on my TikTok every single night before bed until I finally gave in and gave it a watch. The vibe check, 6 out of 10. I actually thought this movie was enjoyable and would have never given it a go if it wasn't for that bloody TikTok Riz party. The story check, 5 out of 10. It was one of those movies where I started watching it because of TikTok, so I kind of had to power through and just finish it. Extra points for no reason, 4 out of 10. The reason for giving more points is because of Anne Hathaway, and I like the bit where it goes feeling like Anne Hathaway in that Sailor song. That's very popular. This brings the total to 15 out of 30. So this is as mid as all things mid should be mid. So if you like mid, watch this mid of mid stuff in the mid, and the mid out and out in the mid, in the midst of mid. The Day of the Jackal. They absolutely cooked with this show. I mean, I was very skeptical at first, with Eddie Redmayne playing the Jackal. I think he suits the role very well after seeing it. Also, the only reason I decided to watch this show is because in Rainbow Six Siege, there's an operator which goes by the name of Jackal. So I was like, oh, I know that name. The vibe check, 7 out of 10. As much as I loved the show, it gave me a lot of anxiety at times. Yeah, I cannot give it higher than a 7, even though I would love to give it a 10 out of 10 in every single category, but that would just be me being very biased, and for what reason? Well, none. So yeah, that's still a respectable score. Story check, 9 out of 10. I mean, I thought this show was so well written. It had me on my toes at almost every single episode. But even with all the chaos going on, you can still follow the show with ease. So the fact that they got this correct, I think it's just great. Extra points for no reason. 9 out of 10. What else is there to say? Eddie Redmayne was actually wonderful, and even Lashana Lynch, I can't say her name, was great at the role she played in the show. So overall, I think this is a must watch. And if you're a salty, oh, I like the original, so I'm not going to watch this, well, you can miss out then, because it actually brings so much new things, plus very respectful to the original movie. Overall, this brings the points total to 25 out of 30, giving it the number 1 spot right now. 102 Dalmatians. I don't really know what to tell you, but my girlfriend put this movie on, and well, I watched it all, so I will now have to rate and rank it, won't I? Shit. The Vibe Check, 3 out of 10. I really don't know what to say about it, but I did not enjoy it. Cruella basically wants to make a coat from 102 Dalmatians. The Story Check, 2 out of 10. The story, once again, was dreadful. Carrying on from what I said earlier, Cruella is making a Dalmatian's coat because it matches her black and white colour. But what makes no sense is the fact that a Dalmatian doesn't have fluffy fur. But in fact, they are short-haired dogs. So this just made me question it. Like, what the hell? That coat won't even be comfy, mate. Extra points for no reason. 2 out of 10. Don't want to give Cruella any more points than she deserves. I mean, it literally has a 4 out of 10 rating on IMDb. So I think I am correct in disliking this movie. Even though it can be seen as a classic, in quotation marks. Yeah, a classic fucking dumpster fire. So this puts the points total to a 7 out of 30, putting it dead last in the rankings. No surprise at all. Fuck you, Cruella. Have that, you stupid fucking bitch. Gangs of London, Season 1 and 2. I won't lie to you, I only watched the show because I saw John fucking Shelby being used in the trailer to promote the show, so I just knew I had to watch it. God, I love Joe Cole. He suits a gangster role so bloody well. The Vibe Check, 7 out of 10. The vibes on the show were decent. Not immaculate, but pretty good. It wasn't something I took very seriously, since there was bits where I was like, that's not very realistic though, is it? Especially when John Shelby got shot in the head and survived, but the show had Argus Filch from Harry Potter, so that did put the ratings up a bit. The Story Check, 6 out of 10. Like I said before, the story wasn't great entirely, especially when the main characters had plot armor and they just couldn't die no matter what has happened. Just felt like every scene didn't really have a lot at stake for the main characters, so therefore I have to deduct points. Sorry John, don't send Arthur after me. Extra points for no reason, 6 out of 10. So overall, the show was a decent watch, and I would say watch it if you like crime shows. Kind of reminds me of a British version of Power. Not sure if any of you have seen the show. Great show, by the way. But worst storyline in comparison when comparing it to Power. But this brings the total point to 19 out of 30. So not too shabby. So now that is out the way, let's get into the ranking. Starting us off with the last but definitely least. In number 10, cheering us up some fur, we have 102 Dalmatians with a whopping 7 points. Moving on to the number 9 spot, we have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson lighting up a red bulb with 12 points. And for the 8th place, we have Imaginary Friends, imagining a point score of 14. Well, now we are on the 7th place, The Intern, Robert De Niroing with 15 points. And now, just before the top 5, we have 6th place. Anyway, we carry on with a good score of 16 points, just slightly above mid, really. Now, this is the big time top 5. We have something that makes me lose my fucking mind. Out of my mind with a solid 18 points. Well, moving on. I want to eat a carrot because Joe Cole is here to be a parrot because he's in 4th place. I don't fucking know, I'm waffling here. The scriptwriters are on strike, unfortunately. But yes, Gangs of London shoot us to a point total of 19 points. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the big 3. Starting us off with the big chunky Maui, aka The Rock, aka Dwayne, aka Johnson, aka 20 points, aka pretty good movie with all things considered. And now, I present to you the 2nd place award to Dune Part 2. What a coincidence. It's not scripted, I promise you. And Timothy gives us 21 points. You all hate me because you think Dune is a 30 out of 30, but hey, this is my opinion, so suck it and pee off. So that brings us to the final place, number 1. For those who don't know what comes first, we have Eddie Redmayne with Jupiter Ascending.
I create life!
Creating the best life for all. Only kidding. It's the Day of the Jackal, disguising us with a wonderful score of 25 out of 30 points. So, that wraps it up. If you don't agree with any of these, I really could not give two shits, mate, so deal with it. But with that said, thank you so much for watching, and hope you enjoyed this kind of like more different type of style, like longer, different editing, and just stuff like that. So yeah, I hope to see you in the near future, and peace out. Boom, boom. Oh, Sigma, Sigma boy.